thank you everyone for joining us again. We actually feel like this is definitely just behind the scenes of Fokcus. I do our little summits we used to have and all the other activities. Steven's been really great at synthesizing information and allowing us to actually just learn something actually new, right? And so this kind of like we said, this whole behind the scenes piece. Steven, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, for sure. So for those of you, watching this on YouTube, feel free to give us a like, leave a comment down below. We have this culture of learning within Fokcus, and we want to learn from you as much as you might want to learn from us, right? So feel free to leave a comment, share your thoughts, ask a question, whether that may be in the comments. And all the interactions like likes and comments we get with videos like this help push it out to more people. So if you found something really cool, really insightful, really interesting in the video today, feel free to interact with it in some way. Leave a like, leave a comment, and the video might be pushed out because of you to another person that really might find it equally as insightful, right? So feel free to do that if you can. But yeah, just going off of what Kurling said. We're always within Fokcus, within our network, and also internally, trying to continue to learn and grow, right, as individuals. And one of the topics that's I guess come up, especially over the last few tech schools, and it comes up quite a bit in different ways, shape, or forms, is this topic of mindset, right, in entrepreneurship and in life, right? And so you have this idea that many of us will face, a lot of different challenges within our life, within our lifetime. And more than most of us tend to realize, our mind ultimately is, the most powerful tool, or the most powerful weapon we have to face those challenges, right? The world around us can ultimately be shaped by those 6 inches that, lie between our ears, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, for lack of a better quote, I guess. But, the gist of that is that of every successful person, no matter how great, no matter how small, no matter where they ended up starting from, shared one thing in common. They've all developed their mindset as a tool to be able to help them achieve whatever it is they want in life, right? And this is something that I believe that every one of us can do, no matter where our circumstances are, no matter where our starting point is, no matter where we're at. Now, most of the material we might talk in this upcoming series is based on a few things, conversations Kurling and I have had, with our internal team, with other entrepreneurs, things we've overheard on tech school, right? Some great speakers that we've had. And then, of course, some reading material, right? For those of you who want to learn more about mindset, there's this book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. We've had some military, people on tech school. But David Goggins, he was a Navy SEAL, and so he talks a lot about mindset in that book. So some of those ideas will pop up here as well.
No, that's great. And yeah, I think in a lot of ways we've been helping. I was just talking to a group. We've been helping a group for a while back called Bunker Labs. There's a lot of veteran founders. One of our first groups, our cohorts, we had a lot of veteran founders. We all felt like they had this superpower, but we always wanted to serve them because what we always asked them. We always told them like, no, thank you for your service. So that was always part of that piece. And I think a couple of weeks ago we had Ty Smith, and that was a totally great video. We'll talk about a little bit more. But I always go back to this kind of mindset. Stephen, I think I was alluded to earlier about my grandfather, his mindset. Now he was like a pastor. He's actually a teacher in this like one room schoolhouse, all these different grades in the South. But yeah, he had a mindset of actually having more opportunity for his family. So his journey was pretty in some ways so much tragic. There was some deaths, there was some things that happened, but he wound up actually being in this little town in Ohio called Shaker Heights, a little separated from his wife for a while. But eventually the whole family was all in this little town, Shaker Heights, a Jewish community. And the family that helped him out the most were the Kurlings. And when my father was born, they named him Kurling. But that whole mindset of community was amazing. But this mindset of like perseverance, I was actually my grandpa, like, that was such an amazing story. There was these things, but I think there's certain things that you have to do, right? And there's certain things that's just within you. Eventually, my dad had the same mindset and wanted more opportunity for us. So he actually moved us when I was really little from Ohio to California. And here I am. And one reason why we spelled the name Fokcus with the K and C, that's my dad's initials. So this mindset of being persevering, and actually in some ways this community too, as part of community that you actually can actually achieve so much more. So I really enjoyed this series. I love the little aspects of family that I can kind of, I guess, be inspired by. But that's some of the things I was been thinking about.
Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing how far like an opportunistic or optimistic mindset can really take you, right? Even in whatever situation you're facing, right?
Definitely.
Back then they faced things that we wouldn't face today.
definitely. Yeah.
Yet you have stories like that where people made it out just fine and were able to chase opportunity wherever it may be.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess to kind of continue on that same path. Now there's many people out there who are dealt bad hands in life, while others may have it better, right? Whatever the case, we all get challenged in some way at some point in life, right? Everyone's story might be a little different. There's current factors in your life that may be limiting your growth and success that might be different than somebody else's, but everyone's going to face challenges in their lives, right? And the gist of that is that no matter how difficult or how long your odds may seem at any given moment, you ultimately have the power to overcome whatever it is, right? No matter how bleak the situation might look. Now, of course, I'm not denying that, some people have it worse off than others. Some people face, hardships in life that you wouldn't wish upon another person, right? But I guess you could say that there are countless success stories out there from some people who have come from the darkest, bleakest situations one can dream of, and done very successful things, started successful business ventures, become very happy people, and driven them to success, at some point in their lives. And if people like that can find a way to push forward, right, then whatever you're facing, so can you. And sometimes, ultimately, you're the only one standing in your way.
Yeah, I love that. This is these founders. I always say somewhat that have these superpowers, meaning that I've been working with these different groups like this Opportunity Youth. They went through so many different obstacles, right, in their lives. And I actually talked to them, and we had sessions where we actually created startups based on how they can solve certain things in their community. And it was so interesting, the fact that where I got the whole superpowers from is that they had this adaptability, we call it AQ, adaptability quotient, where it was so high that when I gave them certain problems, they would come up with like not just one or two solutions. They would come about 3 or 4 solutions on how to help with affordable housing to education in their community. That's like so interesting how they have that. So I even feel like even the struggles or suffering that certain people can go through can actually create kind of mindset to actually persevere or to solve problems or actually make something better. So it's been very interesting for me to see that in that way. And I was just thinking about that story because I was telling that story last night to a board.
Yeah, that's a great story. I mean, Kurling, that my dad at one point in his life was a golf pro, right? And so growing up, he used to kind of allude to that. He never, push golf on us or anything. He's like, if you want to learn golf, I'll teach you. But he used to, every once in a while kind of, let loose like a quote or some sort of like tidbit of wisdom.
That's good. I love that
experience. And one of the things over the years that he mentioned a time or two was that, there's this quote by a famous golfer named Arnold Palmer. And, he used to say that the golf is a game of inches, right? It's played on a 6-inch course, the size of between your ears, right? Yeah. Which is where, when we talked about earlier, that space between your ears, that's where that comes from, right?
I love that.
That's good. One of the things that he kind of instilled from that was that, a lot of what happens in your life exists, within that 6-inch, course, right? Within that 6-inch space, right? And how we choose to react to it, how we choose to digest that, how we choose to, take that in and deal with that really determines a lot of who we are and what happens in our lives, right? I guess a personal story that I could probably share on that was So for those of you who don't know me, I grew up in a very rural farming community in northeastern Oregon, and like very, very rural. And um, to a point where a lot of people that, let's say, graduated high school never went to college, right? Or if they
Yeah,
did, went to, some local community college and
sure,
came back and never left the area. And while
sure.
it, there's people that became very happy because that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
For somebody like me who wanted to, chase opportunities, something beyond kind of that sphere of that, farming community, it was tough, right? You
yeah,
don't have anyone to lean on. There's nobody you can, no resources, right? You just don't know what you don't know.
yeah,
And so there's a lot of things you face, and there might be similarities that we've heard from other founders, situations they face. You run into situations you just don't know what you don't know. And I just kept pushing forward as a kid, and go through high school, and ultimately pursued college. And if somebody that in a situation like that
yeah,
where you have no resources, there's just no really direction
yeah,
to go from you're in a community where a majority of people don't go to college
yeah,
to my situation was went to college, did sports, did 3 majors in undergrad and went to grad school at USC. If somebody can come from that situation
yeah.
and do just fine, then why can't you achieve what you want to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of similarities where you and my grandfather, there's definitely some differences, but the fact that when you actually have some sort of goal, and we actually try to teach this at Fokcus, right? We kind of teach through things like this kind of planning, right? Goals, like setting these goals, execution, of course, and like storytelling, which we've been kind of working on in this next few quarters. We're going to be working on storytelling. These kind of goals you set, right? I think it's really crucial. It actually gives you some sort of North Star. And I think that North Star, even you're still having other things that you're trying to achieve with the Olympics and all that, those things. I think that is kind of key to it. And that's going to be key to anything you do in life, but especially for startups, those things actually are key in these, really, we call it like this kind of marathon of creating something, right? It's not like a sprint, it's a marathon to create a startup or even with your career. So yeah, I definitely respect that, and I definitely understand that, even coming from my father and grandfather, like they had these goals, right? So I definitely love this mindset, and I know we're gonna have other episodes deep delving into different things, accountability, and all these different other pieces. Anything else, Stephen, before we wrap up?
I would just say that if you have a story on mindset, how it's affected your life in any which way,
Yeah,
we'd love to hear it. Right? Leave it in the comments. Share it. Share it with the community. Share it with those who view this video. Right? It might inspire them, or might give them a little tidbit of wisdom to take away that you might not have known might impact somebody in that way. So feel free to do that. But yeah, just to echo from the beginning of the talk, feel free to give us a like, leave a
yeah.
comment, and yeah, we'll see you in the next episode.